Hey guys, I've been saying I was going to do a crash course on Unit 1, so I'm going to do it now. Here we go. Okay, so here's our Schoology page. We're going to go ahead and scroll down to Unit 1, One Variable Statistics. All right, in week 2, we really didn't learn too much. We did a little bit of stuff, and this is summarized right here in these two puzzle piece assignments called Getting to Know You and Asynchronous Unit 1 Check Your Readiness Assessment. You actually have about 10 attempts on each of those, and they only have like 4 questions. So if you keep trying at them, you'll probably guess the correct answers, and you can go ahead and just study those for the test. I'm not going to go over them right now because I don't have that much time. This video actually has to be less than 15 minutes in order for me to be able to upload it. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to week 3. All right, in week 3, we went ahead and learned about the different types of graphs that we use. There's 3 different types of graphs to talk about data. So one of them is a histogram. It looks like this. One of them is a dot plot. It looks like this, lots of dots on a number line. And the third kind is a box plot. So here's a box plot. And here's a box plot with a lot more detail. There's outliers, minimum, maximum, Q1, Q3, and the median. There's some definitions here that you can read through on your own during your own time. The only ones I'm going to point out right now are the mean and the median. The mean is the average of a data set. You want to add the numbers up and then divide by the number of data points. So you're going to add them up and divide by however many numbers there are. The median is the data point that is exactly in the middle of all the data when put in order from least to greatest. If there are an even number of data points, take the mean of the middle 2 data points. All right, let's see an example of that. Here's Delta Math. It says find the median and the mean of the data set below. So again, for the median, we would put these in order and then choose the middle, that's the number that's right in the middle. But since we're kind of low on time, I'm going to go ahead and use the Desmos calculator, which I taught you how to use, and I'll teach you again how to do it right now. All right, in order to save some time on my video here, I went ahead and paused my recording and I just magically typed these in and now it's there. It's the same exact data set. They're not even in order. They don't even have to be in order. That's fine. So in order to find the mean, I'm going to go ahead and type in mean, and there's my mean. And in order to find the median, I'm just going to type in median. Everything has to be lowercase and the parentheses have to be round. If you use square parentheses, it's not going to work, okay? So you have to use round parentheses. All right, there's median. So the median is 17 and the mean is 16. So I'll go ahead and type in my answers here and those will be correct. Okay, going back to Schoology. All right, the next important part here is the 5-number summary, which is used to create the box plot. Okay, so here is a list of data sets, and from that, you will use, you can use the Desmos calculator in order to create it. Actually, you can literally just type in box plot and enter your data points from here, and it makes a dot plot for you. If you go ahead and scroll down to, what does it start at, 4? It seems like I actually made a mistake here, and I'm not exactly sure why it's not coming out, but you can see here that there's something wrong with it. So yeah, but I'm not going to go over that now because there's actually a whole folder and video on how to create graphs on the graphing calculator, which I will show you in a minute. So yeah, anyway, box plot here, Q1, Q3, Q1 is here, Q3 is here, and you find all of these using the Desmos calculator, which I will show you how to do a little bit later. Okay, so that was week 3. Let's move on to week 4. Okay, in week 4, we learned about symmetric distributions. skewed distributions, uniform distributions, bimodal distributions, and bell-shaped distributions. And also we created a Delta Math account. If you haven't done that, please do that. Okay, going backwards up, a bell-shaped distribution looks like a bell. It has one peak and it's kind of even on each side. It kind of goes down. A bimodal distribution kind of has two peaks. It has two mountains and it's basically like two bell-shaped curves put next to each other. A uniform distribution is a distribution where all the data points are kind of spread out evenly. They can be perfectly even or close to perfectly even. Okay, a skewed distribution is one that's kind of pushed to the side a little bit. Here's a symmetric distribution, and this distribution here is skewed right. The mean is bigger than the median or further right than the median. This distribution here is skewed left, and it's long here on the left. It has a long tail on the left. The mean is less than the median or to the left of the median. Skewed left, long on the left. Skewed right, long on the right. And here are some more symmetric distributions. Okay, week 5. In week 5, you had your first real homework assignments, and again, you can use that Desmos calculator in order to do those. Here is a Delta Math assignment 1, and then here's some book work. And again, we see that Q1 and Q3, which you can find using the Desmos calculator, which there are videos on, which I will point them out to you in the next week's video. Comparing distributions, here are some box plots. Okay, here are male leader dot plots, and here are female leader box plots. So you can see here the male leaders had more deaths than the female leaders. And you can read the description more in detail here. Here's another practice problem that you have about 10 attempts on, so you can go ahead and try that out. And let's go to week 6. Using technology to calculate statistics. So this is where there's a detailed video of how to use a Desmos calculator. The other major thing that we need to talk about is standard deviation. Standard deviation is a measure of how spread out a data set is. So let's go ahead and use a Desmos calculator right now to see how, to see an example of what standard deviation is. I'm gonna get rid of this stuff. All right, so the code for standard deviation is STDEV. So I'm going to go ahead and just type in some numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Standard deviation is 1.58. Okay, now I'm going to type in another data set, STDEV for standard deviation of this data set, which I'm going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, and 50. Okay, so the standard deviation for the first data set is 1.58. And the standard deviation for the second data set is 21.27. So again, the standard deviation for the first one is less than 2, and the standard deviation for this second data set is more than 20. So, and the reason for that is because this second data set goes from 1 to 50, and this first data set only goes from 1 to 5. So this second data set is definitely more spread out than the first one. And you can tell that because if you just look at the numbers, or if you were just given the standard deviations of these data sets, but not the numbers, you can tell that this second set of numbers would have to be more spread out because it has a larger standard deviation compared to the first one. Okay, coming back to Schoology, we'll scroll down, and if here is the link that I told you about. So if you want to learn how to use a Desmos calculator better, you can click on that link, and it's a detailed video on exactly how to do all this stuff with the Desmos calculator. Okay, moving on. Finally, in week 7, we reviewed. Here's a video on outliers. Outliers are numbers that are kind of spread out very, very far away from the rest of the data set. For example, in this example that we did, this 50 might be an outlier because it's kind of far from the rest of the numbers. So it starts off 1, 2, 3, 4. The next number would be 5, right? But it's not, it's 50. So this 50 is an outlier because it's kind of far away from the rest of the numbers. So instead of coming up with 5, or 4.5, 4.2, the next number is 50, which is really far. So that one might be an outlier. It's far away from the rest of the numbers. And here are some practice problems, which you probably have about 10 attempts on there for each of these, so you can practice those on your own. If there aren't 10 attempts, then you can go ahead and ask me, email me, and I'll put more attempts there for you. Okay, last thing we did in Unit 1 was obviously take the test. So if you didn't take the test, you will have another opportunity to take it now. So any type of points that you get is better than a 0. And if you didn't take the test, or if you did take the test before, you will have a second attempt to take the test. Okay. So there you go. Hope that helped.